So anyways, as we go into fight or flight, it starts to disrupt everything in our lives. And when our bodies are in fight or flight, it's going, I need safety, I'm in danger. And it will seek safety. And the longer that you are in fight or flight, the more your body, your nervous system, the functions of your body start to go haywire. And there's some functions that, um, they take years and years and years to be disrupted. And there's some that get disrupted very quickly. I just realized my door's not closed all the way, but I apologize for that. So, what are the systems that we see being disrupted when someone is in fight or flight? Spiritually, what does it mean and why? Okay. So, the first place that I see a lot of fight or flight energy is neck tightness, and specifically this top C1 vertebrae. So, if you have a lot of this low, like neck pain, this neck pain that comes in right here at the base of your skull, it might be a symbol or a sign that you're in fight or flight. Okay. The next one that can indicate fight or flight, and this is typically a lot older fight or flight stuff, but not always, is skin and gut issues. So the skin and the gut are kind of like this organ that like they're kind of the same and they work together. And so when things go haywire, the gut's like, I can't digest things properly. I'm going to shut down. This is why you saw a lot of people with the big C who ended up with like gastroparesis and a lot of digestive issues, because that big C was a fight or flight inducing when it came to emotional stuff and spiritual stuff, illness, right? The next place that I see a lot of disruption is kidneys. And kidneys are usually connected with, I'm going to use, social media appropriate terms, with grape, with SA, whether it's current or childhood. And it's typically either someone who has had that happen to them, or they're the perpetrator, or both. So, like when somebody comes in with kidney issues, I'm like, ooh, what happened to you? What happened to you? If it's something that happens where it's inherited, we start to look at the generations past. What happened to your mom when she was pregnant with you? What happened to your grandma, your great grandma? Because epigenetically, these things get passed down as well. You can literally be born in fight or flight. Yeah, that sucks, right? You can be born in fight or flight, either by what your mother was experiencing while she was pregnant with you, or what your grandmother was experiencing when she was pregnant with your mother, and even a little bit further back. So that fight or flight can get passed on epigenetically as well. There's a story that I tell a lot of times about this client that I had. And I get a lot of other healers and psychics, and like I work with a lot of medical doctors who come in for medical intuition classes or calls with me. And they come in, and it's like I always feel really insignificant because I'm like, ooh, but this one lady came in and she was like this Zen master guru, like really chill person. And she had like far more chill than I could ever hope to be. She never had any childhood trauma, had a great life, kind of like the kind of life that people would envy, like your life is awesome, like what's going on? But she came in with an adrenal dysfunction. Now, if you know anything about the adrenals, they sit right on top of your kidneys. And so, adrenals are a little different than kidneys, of course, but adrenals are another fight or flight illness, right? And so I'm like, okay, we got fight or flight going on, but how is this person who's Zen master guru going into fight or flight? So what I ended up doing is we went in and I went in and did this visioning thing. It's hard for me to explain kind of what I did, but it was a visioning. And I basically went in and I asked her higher self and her subconscious, I was like, show me why this person has an adrenal disorder. Show me the root cause. And I was taken to this vision, and I saw this woman running through a forest, and she was wearing kind of old timey clothes, and she's frantically running. And I'm like, what is going on here? And she's running and running, running. And all of a sudden this woman turns and she looks at me and she goes, I'm Jewish, you know. And I was like, okay. And the vision was over. And I was like, this is interesting. Um, and so I went back to my client and I was kind of like relaying like what I saw. And I said, like, she told me that she was Jewish. And, you know, I assumed that that would mean that you were Jewish, which, side note, I just found out that I am part Jewish genetically. Because, you know, my missing mom came back and like told me, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So that's really cool. But and she's like, yeah, I'm Jewish. And then she goes, oh my God, I know what you're talking about in that vision. And I was like, really? You do? Like, I was even shocked. I was like, okay, do tell what's going on here. And she goes, my grandma ran from the Nazis during World War II to escape freedom. And she ran through forests for like 2 to 3 months. You were seeing my grandma's experience. And I was like, oh my God. Like, whoa. Like my mind was like, like mind freaking blown. And it was just like, oh my gosh. Like even I, like, I do these sessions with people. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe I picked that up. So this comes in and we're like, wow, okay. So now we knew the root cause of what was causing it. So when we know the root cause like this, we can go back and we say, okay, now we know what to heal. So for her, we had epigenetic healing that needed to take place. So it was generational trauma healing and ancestral healing. And that was like really powerful stuff to say, okay, we know where we can heal emotionally and spiritually. And then we had to figure out what the body needed to heal physically. And that's when you ask the body, what do you need to heal? Right. And so, like, when I work with my clients, medical intuition, I'm like, what do you need to heal? And the body will tell me, like, I need a diet change. I need a vitamin. I need to go outside and breathe, or any combination of those things. Usually family stuff will come up in the pinkies and the pinky toes. So I'll see a lot of epigenetic generational traumas, current traumas related to family, root chakra, and ungrounding stuff there. So those are some of the places that I will see fight or flight come up with the body. So if someone comes through and they have like really bad eczema, I'm like, what triggered your fight or flight, right? They come through with digestion issues. What's going on with this? What are these, digestion is usually, what are these internalized emotions and things like that. Sometimes we will see, sorry, kids walking in, fun times. Dad's out there, don't worry. So sometimes we will see these affect other organs of the body and other systems of the body. But these are kind of ones that I'm like, okay, something's going on, you're in fight or flight. Hair is another place where we see fight or flight, because the hair, and I learned this when my son was shot, the hair will start to fall out from stress. And your hair is your connection and protection. So connection and protection issues indicate I'm in fight or flight. So we start to lose the hair and the body's like, I can let go of the hair. I don't have the energy, strength, or nutrients to deal with hair right now. And that's why we start to see hair falling out. Weight gain is another one, because the body's like, I need protection. I need to put protection over my body and push away the people, the things. I need to have my armor on. And where we gain our weight will indicate where we are feeling that stress, that lack of safety, and that fight or flight, right? So somebody gains weight in their arms, bingo wings. What is being like? I have a little bit here, right? So I'm going to out my jiggly wigglies here. Bingo wings. These are in the back. Arms are about strength and protection. So in the past, I have felt like I didn't have strength. I didn't feel like I was protected, right? Someone gains a lot in the boobs, which is not somewhere that I gain, because I wish, but it says what? In the past, I lacked the nurturing and love and support I needed. Someone said weight's all in the tummy. Okay, that's where a lot of my weight is too. Upper tummy, right? That's that solar plexus. Lower tummy is that sacral. But upper tummy is actually usually heart chakra issues. Okay, so if I gain weight like up here, primarily in the top, this is like I'm disconnected from myself. I'm trying to hide or protect myself from love, broken hearts, um, the way that I flow and circulate through life. Also, when people are not aligned to their full true purpose, you'll see weight gain up here. So, kind of adding myself too, because I'm still trying to gain the full strength to share all of my gifts and abilities with everybody. I mean, I get on TikTok and I'm like, woo, let's talk about spiritual meaning of tattoos and birthmarks. And that's like just barely scratches the surface of like the things that I can do spiritually and emotionally. And, and like I made a video before, everybody was doing these videos like, well, if TikTok's banned, I'm going to do XYZ, right? And so I made a video and I was like, well, I just wanted to let you guys know that I can heal people when I touch them. And this is also why like I'm really weird about touching people, because I've literally just pulled illnesses into me. And I know it sounds weird and it sounds weird to me. And that's why I don't talk about it. But hey, I digress. I digress. So there we are with all of that. Let's see. Someone said, "Yep, scary, active, and total homebody." I know, and it's really you have to learn how to transmute. If you find that you pick up people's illnesses and energies by touching them, it just means that you're a touch healer. But you have to learn how to transmute the energy and transmute it away. And I am still not fantastic at doing that kind of stuff. So there's that. So, back to our fight or flight class. You know, right now, we are really, really into this fight or flight energy. The world around us is shifting. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't do my 2025 spiritual predictions, because I saw it was coming down the pipes and I was like, shit, I don't want to freak people out any more than they already are. Which, by the way, I will be doing on my podcast later. Somebody said thighs in the comments. Spiritual awakening and thighs is usually family arguments, disagreements, and it's usually a family member who is incredibly controlling, right? So like I want to control what you do and how you say and how you dress and how you look and what you do. And like basically they just suck the life out of you, the fun, the joy, the laughter. And sorry, I dropped something. I'm going to try to pick up. And so they suck all of that from us. And so when someone ends up with like weight gain on the thighs or the hips, it's literally they're like, people are controlling me. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore, and get my family away from me. They're losing that fun and joy in their life. So, yeah. the gal in the comments says that tracks for me. So that's awesome. I mean, it's awesome that it tracks for you, not that it happened to you. So sorry. Okay. Woo, back to the fight or flight stuff, because like everybody is in fight or flight right now, whether you know it or not, because either your life is in chaos or someone around you, their life is in chaos. And so we are kind of like this interconnected species. We have this web of energy that connects us. That's saying we are all one is very true. What happens to one happens to another. We have a comment that says, I need help not picking up others' energy. We're going to talk about that later, so stick around. Stick around, and so say, if you're a highly sensitive person, you're going to pick up stuff from everybody. You're going to pick up people's stuff from the grocery store, from work, from all of this stuff, right? And so how do we function when like the whole world is in fight or flight right now? Everybody is feeling it and people are reacting in different ways. So some people, when they're in fight or flight, they're going to react in fear. Okay. And they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. And that fear comes out many different ways. It comes out in stupid ways. It can come out as anger, as arguments, as stress. Fear can come out as paralyzation. And this is the one way it happened to me, where I just was like, can't function. Okay, I'm just going to go stay in bed and doom scroll TikTok and read books. That's how my fear came out. And I'm like, I'm just going to isolate, right? Some people get mad. Some people punch things. Some people start, going towards addictive behaviors. Some people shop. It depends on how healthy your coping mechanisms are. And sometimes you know that you're in fear and fight or flight, and sometimes you don't realize it until you look back in retrospect and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so, like for me, I did not realize that I was in fear or fight or flight. Okay. And so what happened was, is like things just started escalating. I was like, if I don't move and I don't get the hell out of all of this, I'm gonna like lose my shit. Right. And so I told my husband, like, we got to do something. He applied for medical school, got accepted. I'm like, that's it, we're going, done. Like we were like moving on an airplane. It was crazy. Um, and I got here to our new location. I was like, oh my God. And like my physical symptoms started to decrease. My blood pressure started to go down. The muscle spasms in my back started to release. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Like, what the hey? This is awesome. Right? I was like, instant fix, instant fix, right? I feel better. And that went on for a while. I was like, yay, this is great. This is great. And then all of a sudden things got a little more stressful. Things kind of started to like escalate. And my symptoms started to come back. I started to gain the weight back. My protection came back, even though I wasn't really eating any differently. My muscle spasms started to come back. My blood pressures crept up a little bit. And I was like, well, what the fuck? Because I thought I was in this moldy environment. If I moved my environment, I would get better. And I did for a little bit. But what happened? Right? So sometimes we will get this change and it will say, oh, yeah, everything's going to get better. I'm feeling better. This is great. And then something will trigger that fight or flight, that fear response again, and it'll all go back. And so this is why, they say like you cannot heal in the same environment that you're hurt. Yes, because it's going to re-trigger you over and over again, right? But if you don't heal that nervous system response, that fight or flight, every time you get re-triggered, it's going to open back up again. So moving, is that going to solve it permanently? No. Getting in a new relationship, is it going to solve it permanently? No. It might be good for the first 3-6 months, maybe a year. And if something triggers it again, you're going to fall apart again, right? And why does this happen, right? The subconscious's goal is to protect you. Okay. So like when I do a medical intuitive reading, I look at people's energy on the conscious level, how the world sees them, how they project themselves, the subconscious level, who they are underneath all of that based on their life experiences. And then the soul or higher self level, who they truly are as a spiritual human, right? And so when I look for illness in someone, why someone's sick, we look at the subconscious. That's the main place. The other places give us indicators, but that subconscious is going to give me the biggest indicator of what's going on and why. And the reason why is the subconscious is like as I said, the job is to make you safe, to protect you. And so sometimes we get stuck in a space where our trauma feels safe and protected, right? So like right now, I actually went to my husband, like, we should go back to our old house. Because we still own the old house. I'm like, we should move back to the other state. I can't do this. This is too hard. At least over there, I know what to expect. Right. And when we're in a state where we can't understand what to expect, expecting the unexpected, whatnot, right? All of a sudden we're like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know how to deal with this. And it triggers that fight or flight again, right? That subconscious goes, ooh, no. So the subconscious goes, well, who cares that the mold in the other house was dangerous? Who cares that you were having a lot of health issues over there? It's safe because we know what to expect, right? This is why people go back to toxic relationships as well, where everybody else around them's going, what are you thinking? Why are you doing this? Right? It's because it feels safe. Now, here's the other tricky thing. The subconscious is a record of our life experiences and those epigenetic experiences. So this is also why we see repetition of things throughout family lines, health issues, emotional responses, and things like that, this epigenetic things. So the subconscious is basically saying either your ancestors or me, sorry, doggy, barking with the fear response here. There was something that was dangerous. And that danger is something we don't want to experience again. So we're going to take you back to where you feel safe and protected, even if you're actually not safe and protected in that spot. That's dumb, but that's the way it works. So what we have to do is go backwards and find those little guideposts, those little subconscious in the sand that say, oh, this is experience is dangerous. And we need to rewire the brain, the body, the subconscious, the soul to not feel that that is dangerous. Okay. And so we're going to get into doing some exercises and meditations here in a minute, but I'm going to tell you about an experience that I had when I led one of these meditations in the past. So I always use myself as a human guinea pig. I'm like, let's figure this shit out on me, right? And so I went in and I asked my body this question. We're going to do this with you guys too, so keep sticking around. Is I said, okay, body, tell me what you're afraid of. And we want to go just with wherever the body is going first. So we were really focusing on weight for this class. And so I went, body, what are you afraid of? And my body goes, ice cream. And I'm like, that's a dumb response. Why am I afraid of ice cream? But I was like, well, whatever, we're going to flow with it, right? And so I was like, body, why are you afraid of ice cream? And my body goes, my subconscious goes, because it'll kill me, right? Well, that's dumb. Ice cream's not going to kill anybody unless you like fall in a vat of it, right? Or unless you eat like a gallon of it. I don't know. And you're like really diabetic. I don't know. But I was like, okay, this is just going weird places, but whatever. I'm like, okay, great. Ice cream. Why do you believe ice cream will kill you, body? And the body goes, well, because my dad told me so. And I was like, and instantly, woof, I was flooded with memories of my father, who's a naturopath, never let us eat sugar as kids, was always like really hyper vigilant with the diet, and would tell us that ice cream will kill us because the sugar is bad and it's like super addictive to the body and it destroys the systems. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. The other crazy thing is that I had really insane ice cream cravings. And I was like, well, this is interesting. I want to lose weight. I've been saying ice cream cravings, and I figured this out why, at least this trigger. And so it is interesting that my body would crave something that is actually not good or healthy for it, right? Because it's that subconscious being that little rebellious child, rebellious teenager. We're going to talk about this in just a second, who says, well, I know it's not good for me, but I like it, so I'm going to eat it. Poof. And so the point in time where our traumas occur will indicate the attitude of our subconscious towards things. So for me, my significant traumas were from the time I was like 12 till when I was like about 19. So I didn't just have a unruly inner child dictating what happened to my subconscious. I had a really, really unruly inner teen. And when an inner teen is ruling the subconscious, you see them eating foods they know they're not good for them, doing dangerous, out of control behaviors, doing, this is where people have midlife crises and they go out and buy a sports car, or they like start to do like really wild and crazy things because their inner teen is like, I can't take this anymore. I had no time to develop properly due to my trauma. And so now I'm reacting because of it. Okay. And so that inner teen was like, well, fuck it. I don't care if ice cream's not good for me because I'm going to eat it anyways. Right. Because I can do that because that's what teenagers do. Well, I don't care if it's not good for me to go to parties and drink. I'm going to do it anyways because I want to and I can, right? And so that told me a lot of things about what I needed to heal. I needed to heal around my inner teen. I needed to heal my fear that ice cream and that sugar was going to like kill me, right? Because all things in moderation are fine, you know? And this is the one thing, there's so many uber restrictive diets out there that like, do this, do that. And like, honestly, a lot of them trigger more fight or flight. Now, you know, you're taking advice from a curvy girl, still working on stuff. But at the core of this question, if we can get our body out of fight or flight, the weight should naturally release. The body should naturally go, oh, you know what? I'm mostly safe now. I can let go of that big, thick armor around me. Clearly, I haven't quite got there yet. That's okay. And so sometimes that's why these diets help, is because they're, you know, shifting the energy enough to allow things to release. But this is also why when we go off the diets, when we deviate, the weight comes right back. But then you can look at someone else who's like, they're totally fine eating normal food and eating stuff and they don't gain the weight, right? So with this exercise, and we're going to do this in a couple minutes here, I went to my subconscious and I said, okay, I need to find a memory around ice cream that's a positive memory when I was a teenager. And I need to replace all of my stress with this and heal that part of me. So instead of the stressful parts where my dad's like, oh, you're going to die if you eat ice cream, I found a memory, and this was my memory. And so I'm kind of explaining this so you can kind of understand how to do it. So my memory was the summertime, so I visited my grandpa, and he was teaching me to play acoustic guitar. And he made homemade peach ice cream in one of those old hand crank ice cream makers that was literally from like the early like 18 or like the late 1800s. It was old. And that was my memory. And I went back and I remembered everything. I remembered the damp grass on my feet. I can still remember it today, this day. I remembered sitting in those old lawn chairs, you know, with the little nylon straps and playing the guitar. And, you know, my grandpa and my brothers, my grandma, like pranking this ice cream and then eating this homemade ice cream. And it wasn't just homemade ice cream. I'm talking like my grandma literally had a neighbor with a cow and got fresh cream, and the peaches grew on her tree. So it was like a really intense, profound emotional memory for me. That was a good, good memory. And those are the memories that you seek to find to replace the poor ones. And so I went in and I felt every aspect of this. And I said, allow this to replace my fear of ice cream. Allow this to replace my fear of these things. And did that healing process. And I will tell you, now to this day, I barely eat ice cream anymore. I don't crave it. I don't really want it all the time like I used to. I used to always have like a tub of ice cream in the freezer. I don't have that anymore. Right. And so my next one, and I'll probably do this one during this class, hopefully, is wheat. But the thing is that it's not what our mind thinks we need to heal, it's what our subconscious brings forward first. So for me, subconscious brought ice cream forward first, which interestingly I like don't even crave like dairy at all anymore. But it's important to go with what the subconscious brings forward first, not with what you think you need to heal, but what your body is telling you this needs to come first. Because we're going to peel back the layers and we're going to sit on those layers, you know, and figure this out. And so the body will lead you, the subconscious will lead you on the journey that you need to go. And that's how you get to this healing, at least spiritually, is following your subconscious telling you this is where you need to go, not what the mind says this is what you need to do. Right. And so I am still in this journey. I am still learning. I am not a perfect human, but I'm going to take you on the journey with me. We're going to go through a meditation. If you haven't meditated with me before, we work on deep breaths through the nose, belly breaths, and out through the mouth as our releasing. And that's going to be one of the most important things. Into the nose, out through the mouth, into the nose, out through the mouth, like that. Do the best that you can. Sometimes those deep breaths are hard. Sometimes you're going to have a hard time visualizing. Okay. I have a lot of people like, oh, I can't meditate because I can't visualize. No, you can still think. So if you can't see it in your mind, which is called aphantasia, which I actually have, which is weird because I can vision. But like if you're like, think of a green apple, picture it in your mind, I can't do that. Right. But I can go into visioning and see other stuff, which is very interesting. But that's okay. You can just think of it, right? You can maybe feel it. So like if I'm like, think of a green apple, I can't think of a green apple, but you're like, I know what a green apple feels like, tastes like, smells like in my mouth, the crunch, how it feels in my hands. You can think about that. And that can still be that same thing. Okay. If at any time you feel triggered or overwhelmed, you can just stop and lay and deep breathe. You don't have to continue. And I would advise you not to continue if you start feeling triggered or weird or having a hard time. Just be like, I can't continue with following the guided meditation, but I can just sit here and breathe. Or if you need to get up and walk away, you are allowed to do that. It's no big deal. We are definitely allowed to do those things and whatever is good for us. Um, and so don't worry because there will be a recording at the end. So we're going to get ready to go into that meditation. I am going to try to shut my door more because everybody is outside playing snowballs and the puppy is whining because nobody took her to play in the snow with them, which, I don't know why they did or did not do that. So 1 second, we're going to just kind of shut this door really quick and then I'll block out the sound, hopefully. And ta-da, here we are. Okie dokie, everybody. So, okie dokies are the chokies. We're going to take deep breaths. And we're just going to start with 3 cleansing breaths. And we're just going to calm our nervous system. And as you continue your deep breaths, I want you to just let go of all the stress, all the worries of the day, all the things in life that just have you feeling chaotic. I want you to just take them, set them aside. Let your subconscious know that you don't need to hold on to those anymore. That for now, we're in a safe, calm space. And in that safe, calm space, there is nothing but peace and healing. Let's take a deep breath in again. And as you deep breathe in, ask your body to guide you to the space of healing. Guide you to the answer of the question, what is creating fear in my body today? What is creating fear in my subconscious? What is disrupting my heart and soul? And whatever comes to mind, that is your answer. And I want you to just sit with the answer and breathe for a moment, not trying to understand it, just acknowledging it. And when we are ready, I want you to ask the next question. The next question is, why this? Why this one particular thing? And sit and acknowledge. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to do anything but understand. Release, release. Now ask another question. What about this thing? What specific moment in time? What experience created this fear? Who does the fear belong to? it mine? Is it someone else's? When did the fear occur? And again, just acknowledge it, understand it, feel it, recognize it. Thank you, subconscious, for the awareness of my fear. Now, allow me to experience a new experience, an experience to replace, to heal the fearful experience. Remind me of a time in my life where I experienced this fear in a positive manner. Allow me to feel positive emotions around this experience. The warmth in my heart, the joy in my soul, the sensations that I felt around this experience. Allow the fearful moment to fade away. Go to your subconscious and repeat in your mind or out loud. I ask that this moment in time, this moment of fear, be erased from all points of my perspective, from body, mind, and soul, from the very depths of my DNA to all the crevices of my heart, my energy, and my matter. I find great gratitude and peace that my subconscious protects me. I acknowledge the experience as a learning experience, but I know I no longer need to retain this. So I ask that it is released from all points of my perspective, past, present, future, through all generations, all dimensions in time. I release, release, breathe in, release, breathe in, release out, release, breathe in, and breathe out. Feeling strength, warmth, and gratitude. We offer gratitude to our experiences, to all those that played a part in this experience. We say thank you. We offer peace and gratitude for the moments in time as spiritual humans that we were allowed to learn and to experience things in a physical body. We release the fear, the pain, the stress, and we gratefully replace it with love, with kindness, generosity, with peace of heart and mind. Taking a deep breath in, we say thank you. I'm just going to send a little bit more energy to clear you. I permanently clear all negative aspects of this fear, backwards through time, forwards into the future, through all layers, levels, and dimensions, sideways, up and down. I permanently clear all layers and levels. Deep breath in. Deep. And again. We thank our ancestors, all the ancient holy masters, God, creator, universe, the angels, for protection, guidance, and healing during this time. We ask that the body, the DNA, and the soul continue its healing process until it is complete, gently, completely, and all knowingly. We allow this process to continue forward, allowing the body and soul to heal. Amen. All right, we're going to take a big, deep breath in and out. You can start moving your body, wiggling your fingers, your toes, yawning, maybe like me a little bit. Oh, opening your eyes, just kind of coming back into the room and just kind of feeling that kind of new energy, the new awakening. You might be feeling kind of tired. You might be feeling invigorated. There's like no right or wrong answer. We just have like this amazing kind of energy shift, hopefully. So we're going to talk a little bit about energy healing and how it works. You will likely feel tired today. That is normal. Give yourself the space to rest if you can. Drink plenty of water to move your energy. Just allow yourself to kind of process. Try to stay away from things that create secondhand traumas, like watching the news or dramatic TikToks about things that are going on in the world. Try to stay away from things like horror movies or heavy metal music for at least the next 24 to 48 hours if you can, because we don't want to reopen traumas. And that's going to be really important. You don't want to just reopen the mess and recreate, trauma through secondary trauma experiences. Sometimes the subconscious will get a little reactive and it's like, are you sure you want to heal? Are you sure? Are you sure? Let me throw something in your path that reminds you of what you were trying to heal today, right? So we'll say your ex calls you and like triggers you. Be like, nope, that's just my subconscious asking me, do you want this or do you want that? And you're going to say, I want peace, right? And I release, right? Release that, just like release, release, release. That's going to be super important to recognize. So if something comes in that re-triggers you, that's the subconscious reaching for points of safety. And you might have to go back to your subconscious and be like, hey, no. We're safe, we're protected, this is okay. We need to let this go, okay? You can ask, like, is there another message? Is there something I'm missing from this? And you can process that as well. But really give yourself that opportunity to just like be like, okay, this is okay. I can breathe through this. I can make it through that. That self-care is super important. We will have a recording that is up hopefully within the hour after the class of this. So if you want to come back and re-listen to the meditation, you can. I used to have an awesome gal that would come through and like find the meditations for me and separate them out and make separate meditations. I don't have her available anymore. I might try to do that myself. We shall see. If I can pull that off, I will. But bare minimum, it will be on my U to the Tube. And hopefully that can help you guys like watch that longer video and go through class again, because many of us have more than one fear. We have more than one epigenetic experience that we need to heal. Just like in the beginning of the class, I was talking about like my Zen master guru yoga instructor. I mean, she was chill, she knew her stuff, but she couldn't overcome the epigenetics. And so acknowledging the epigenetics and the ancestral and genetic connections, like even if you're like, yeah, I need to heal more, it's probably through an ancestor that you need to heal. And so that's a really important thing, is understanding that connection to the past, understanding connections to the future. A lot of us are in fight or flight right now because we kind of feel what's coming through in the future. It's kind of like hearing the rumble of a freight train on the tracks before you can see it. We know something crazy is coming. We know that the world's getting a little weird. And I will say this is by design. We are in an unsustainable world right now. We're in a world that corporate greed and, toxic substances, it's destroying the world. We cannot live this way. Like you think about like the egg shortages that are going on. Those type of farms are not sustainable. What we used to do is almost everybody used to have their own little backyard chickens, and they used to take care of their own eggs and take care of themselves. That's where we need to be, is in that self-sufficiency, self-care space, not these big corporate farms that create toxic environments and waste, right? And so that's why you're seeing these structures fail and have problems. I will also be doing a podcast, hopefully later today. I'll be recording it. So it should be up later today or tomorrow, about my predictions. And I want to tell you about this. I know this is a fight or flight class. And so it's like one of the reasons I didn't post a prediction video was because I didn't want to trigger people. I didn't want to create fight or flight. But I realized, I'm like, if I'm getting this stuff, there's a reason I'm getting it. And I need to talk to about people so that they're prepared and they understand. So there will be a really big trigger warning in the beginning of that video. And if you're easily triggered, I would say maybe wait to listen to it. But it should also be empowering. And I do want to empower you that you are in control of your reality, whether it feels like it or not, that your decisions can determine your destiny, that what is going on in your world and the world around you, we all have the power to change this. Like right now, like we feel like we're so helpless, like we can't change these things, we can't fix this, but we can. You can. We can come together and change things. But if you're like, I want things to get back to normal, that's where there's a problem, because there's not going to be a getting back to normal. Even when you heal what you're healing now or later, you're going to become more open, more enlightened. And whether it's the world around us, our personal world, it's a new normal, it's a new experience. And that's what you want, is that new growth, that change. But just remember that sometimes change is like ripping off a little old band-aid. It might leave a mark, it might hurt, sting for a minute, but eventually things heal and they get better. So, and the scars of the past are reminders that you are capable of healing. And that's an important thing to remember. So until next time, my awesome spiritual humans, I appreciate you joining me for our fight or flight class today. And if you're on my mailing list, on my email list on my website, you'll get an email letting you know when this recording is up and available to watch again. So thank you, everybody, for your support. I love and appreciate all of you, especially my OG people who have been supporting me through all of my stuff. My gosh, thank you. But it just means so much to me that all of you are here and giving me the opportunity to share my gifts, my abilities with you, and to follow my purpose. So thank you, everyone, and keep an eye out on my events on my webpage, because we'll be adding more classes like this in the future, more blog posts and more podcasts for things to support you. And just a quick plug, my books, My Spiritual Awakening is a Shit Show, is out on Amazon, as well as my new book, The Secret Messages of Birthmarks. If you want to learn the spiritual meaning of your birthmarks, that is also out right now on Amazon, and you can grab those for yourself. So, all right, everybody, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
My Spiritual Awakening is a Shit Show, and The Secret Messages of Birthmarks are available everywhere books are sold.